Hi Bobcats, this is Miss Lee, and today's video lesson is on solving one-step equations. Make sure as you're watching the video that you are taking good notes. Okay, we can use properties of equality to help us solve algebraic equations. So there is the addition property of equality and the subtraction property of equality. And it says that you can add or subtract the same number to both sides of an equation and the two sides will remain equal. In other words, we just use the inverse or the opposite operation to isolate the variable. Okay, then there's the multiplication or division property of equality that says that you can multiply or divide the same number to both sides of an equation and the two sides will remain equal. Okay, these are the steps for solving one-step equation. Number one, you want to isolate the variable by doing the inverse or the opposite operation. So we did this with our models. When we were modeling, we wanted to isolate the variable, get it by itself on one side of the equal sign. Step two, you're going to use the inverse operations, properties for equality. What you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. Step three, solve for the variable. And then you're going to check your answer to make sure that you solved it correctly. Okay, we're going to solve the equation and then represent its solution on the number line. So we have a model. It's kind of like a scale, right? So we know in a scale that the two sides are equal. They're starting off equal. One side's not higher than the other. So let's write down what is being modeled. There's one x tile, so it's going to be an x. And then on the same side, there's 2, 4, 6 negative unit tiles. So it's x minus 6 equals, and then on the right side of the scale is going to be 2, 4, 5, negative 5. So our equation is x minus 6 equals a negative 5. Now to solve this, there are a couple of steps that I like to make sure that we do. And the first is I like to draw a line under the equal sign because it shows that the two sides more clearly. It shows that the x minus 6 is the left side of the equation and the negative 5 is the right side because it's the x that we need to isolate. So we need to work on that side of the equation. The x is on the left side. This is what we're going to work on is the left side. We want to get the x by itself. What do you see on the same side as the x? You see the minus 6. So we want to do the opposite or the inverse of minus 6, and that would be to add 6. What you do to one side of the equation, you have to do the same exact thing. We're going to add 6. And I don't want you just to put a 6. I want you to put the addition symbol in front of it, positive 6. Now we're just going to draw our line and we're going to do our totals. You'll notice that when I add the 6, the positive 6, I put it underneath the negative 6. I did not put it underneath the x because there's no x with this 6. I'm ready to combine. I don't have anything to combine this x with, so I just bring it straight down, x. Then I have a negative 6 and a positive 6, and we already know that those are going to zero out. You don't need to bring a 0 down. Just show that the negative 6 and the positive 6 zero out. Then we come over here to the right side of our equal sign, so we can bring down our equal sign. And now we have a negative 5 and a positive 6. We need to combine them. Remember combining integers. If the signs are different, you subtract. So 6 minus 5 is 1. And now who has more? Are there more positives or are there more negatives? There are more positives. So our answer is x equals 1. Check it. Substitute our solution for x, 1, back into the equation. So instead of x minus 6, I'm going to put 1 minus 6. That should equal a negative 5. So when I combine, my signs are different. I subtract, I get a 5. There are more negatives, so it's a negative 5. So we solved it correctly. Now, to represent the solution on a number line, you just find x is equal to 1, so you find 1, and you just put a dot on 1. This is what x equals. That's all you have to do to represent the solution. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more together, and then we'll have you do a couple by yourself. Let's look at this last one. Okay, w minus 2.5 equals a negative 5. First thing you're going to do is draw your line underneath your equal sign. What side is the variable on? It's on the left side. So we need to work with this. We need to isolate the w, which means we need to get rid of this negative 2.5. And the opposite of a negative 2.5 is a positive 2.5. So I'm going to put it underneath the negative 2.5. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Positive 2.5. Now I draw my total line. I don't have any w's to combine together, so I bring it straight down. My negative 2.5, my positive 2.5, they zero out. So now I've isolated the w, bring down my equal sign, and a negative 5 and a positive 2.5. Signs are different, subtract. I get 2.5. There are more negatives, so it's a negative 2.5. So w equals a negative 2.5. Now check it. Go back in. Substitute our answer for w. Negative 2.5 minus 2.5 should equal a negative 5. Well, let's combine them. Circle each integer in their signs. They're both negative. If the signs are the same, you add and keep. Add them together. 2.5 plus 2.5 is going to give you a 5, and you keep the sign. It stays a negative. Does a negative 5 equal a negative 5? It does. We've solved it correctly. Now to draw the solution on the number line, I'm okay with you just having the solution. You don't really need to put a 0 on the number line and have a 1, 2, or a negative 1, negative 2. Just put the solution. W equals negative 2.5. So this is going to be my negative 2.5. Label it on there, and then place a filled-in dot. And that's the solution. So go ahead, pause the video, work the remaining 2 examples, and then come back and check to see how you did. Okay, for the first example, did you get y equals 39? If you did, good job. If not, make sure you checked your answer, because if you checked it and you didn't get 39, you would have seen that your total would not have equaled 18 and you made a mistake. Okay, if necessary, just take a look at the steps that have been done. This one's a little bit different. Yes, the variable is still on the left side, but it's got the constant, that just a number, in front of the variable. The middle problem, w equals negative 6. Okay, this one, the variable is not on the left side, it's on the right side, but you still do the same steps. You just have to recognize, oh, my variable's over here on the right side with that positive 11, and the opposite is the negative 11. Okay, now let's talk about multiplication and division. You're still doing the same steps, except for the inverse operation is not going to be adding or subtracting. It's going to be multiplying or dividing. So first step, still draw your line under the equal sign. Identify the side that your variable is on. Our variable is a, it's on the left side. Now what is the operation? Well, it's 10 times a. So we have to do the opposite of that. The opposite of multiplying by 10 is dividing by 10. That's the inverse operation. And we're going to show the division, our new way of showing division with the fraction bar. So I'm going to divide by 10. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So you divide the numbers. 10 divided by 10 gives you 1a, or just a. You don't need to put the 1. Equals, and then divide. 180 divided by 10 is 18. So our answer is a equals 18. Plug it back into our equation, see if that's true. 10 times 18 should equal 180. Does it? It does. So we solved it correctly. Okay, to represent the solution on a number line, a equals 18, so we just need to show 18 with the filled in dot. Okay, look at the second one. Again, draw your line underneath the equal sign and then identify where your variable is. It's over here on the left. Now what is the operation being done with the variable? Well, it's in fraction form. This means to divide, so we're dividing. And the opposite of dividing by 2.5 is going to be to multiply by 2.5. So 2.5 times w. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. So we're going to multiply 2.5 on the right side. I'm going to put inside the parentheses. Now let's talk about this. If you'll recall, we're going to multiply a whole number with a fraction. You have to have the whole number in fraction form, and you do that by putting it over 1, giving it a denominator of 1. And then we learn that we can simplify before we multiply, right? We can cross simplify. 2.5, 2.5. Common factor is 2.5. So 2.5 divided by 2.5 gives us 1. This 2.5 divided by 2.5 gives us 1. And now we have 1 times w, which is w, over 1 times 1, which is 1. And anything over 1 is itself. So it's just w. So the 2.5s, they simplify to 1. And we're left with w equals, and now multiply. Negative 5 times 2.5. Well, we know it's going to be a negative because a negative times a positive is a negative. And I think of 25 as being a quarter, 25 cents. 5 quarters is $1.25. How many decimals do we need? Just 1. So it's a negative 12.5. Check your answer. Plug in this answer for W. Negative 12.5 divided by 2.5 should equal a negative 5. If you do the math, it does. So to put our answer on the number line, we're going to put negative 12.5 and put your dot. Okay, pause the video, solve the last problem, come back and check your answer. Okay, did you get negative 3 equals x? If you did, great job. If not, pause the video, take a look at the steps, and see what you did wrong. Okay, so now we have a couple of word problems that we're going to work with. The area of the rectangle shown is 216 square inches. Is means equals. What is the height of the rectangle in inches? So we know the area, we're looking for the height h, we know the length is 32. And remember, area means length times width, doesn't it? Okay, so let's write the equation. We know it's going to equal 216 because it is 216. Multiply the two dimensions, multiply the 32 times the h to get your 216. Draw your equals line, and now you're ready to solve. The variable is on the left side. This is multiplication. We do the inverse operation, which is division. Instead of multiplying by 32, we're going to divide by 32. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. Okay, 32 divided by 32 simplifies to 1h, or just h, equals, and if you do the math off to the side, 216 divided by 32 is 6.75. So the height is 6.75 inches. That's what h equals. Check your answer. 32 times h, which we got 6.75, should equal 216, and if you do the math, it does. Then we can put it on our number line, 6.75, with the filled in circle dot. Okay, the perimeter of a triangle is 180 units. First of all, is 180 means equals. What does perimeter mean? It means to add all the sides, right? The combined length of two of the sides of the triangle is 120. What is the length of the third side? Sometimes it helps to draw a triangle. Okay, we know the total perimeter is 180. We know that this side plus this side is 120. We're looking for this side here. So this is our missing side. We know that this side plus this side equals 120. So 120 times our missing side, I'm going to use t, not times, but added to our missing side length, which I'm going to use t for triangle, is 180. So there's your equation. Now you're ready to solve it. Draw your equal line. Our t, or variables, on the left side. We're adding 120 to it, so we do the opposite. The opposite of this positive 120 is a negative 120. Do the same thing to the other side. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. The positive 120, the negative 120, zeroes out. It leaves us t equals, and 180 minus 120 is 60. So that is our answer. Check it. 120, substitute our answer, 60 for t, Add them together. Do we get 180? Yes, we do. And then we can plot it on our number line, t equals 60, 60, and put your filled in circle dot. Okay, solutions to equations. Sometimes we're going to be given certain solutions and we're going to be asked which one makes this equation true. Determine if 4, 5, or 6 makes the equation true. So to do that, you're just substituting these values into the equation for C. Show your work. I'm going to substitute 4 for C. 4 plus 7 should equal 13. Does it? No, it does not, because 4 plus 7 is 11. Let's try the 5. 5 plus 7 should equal 13. Well, 5 plus 7 is 12, not 13, so that doesn't work. Try the third one. 6 plus 7 equals 13. Well, 6 plus 7 does equal 13, so 13 is true. That's the solution that makes the equation true. So pause the video, do the next one, then come back and check your answer. Okay, substituting the values for x. 32 divided by 4 equals 9. That is a false statement. 36 divided by 4 equals 9. That statement is true. 40 divided by 4 equals 9. That one is also false. All right, good job, Bobcats.